What's going on, everybody? It's WebsterStyle, Brian Sapph, with another edition of the NRW Checkpoint. Brian, how you doing, man?
Doing okay. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Well, before we started recording, a bombshell dropped. Well, I don't know about bombshell, but an unexpected piece of gaming news dropped, and that is Sony making the announcement that Jim Ryan is retiring come March.
Really?
Yes. He is retiring after 30 years with Sony.
That's wow. Well, congratulations to Jim and all of his many accomplishments with the Sony team. And if he's been instrumental in anything regarding PlayStation, then thank you for that as well.
Yeah, that was I forget how long he's been at the top spot, because they fired Sean Layton, I forget, sometime in the PlayStation 4 era, if I remember correctly. So, but he's been with Sony in various positions. I was listening to a video where they were talking about reading out the press release a little while ago, and he's been there for a very long time. It's one of those things where like you don't know who works for the video game company unless they're like the person out in front. But the fact that he's been there for 30 years and rose through the ranks, that's just nothing short of spectacular, in my opinion. And I would say my only maybe missteps, I would say, is the whole Activision thing and some of the things that was said. From a even business standpoint, I get it, like, doesn't make sense. But he has nonetheless done an amazing job shepherding the launch of PlayStation 5 and to continue to spread Sony's video game dominance across the world.
I agree. 30 years, yeah. That's the entire lifespan of all PlayStation consoles. So yeah, definitely I agree with what you're saying.
All right, so that's the biggest gaming news today. Let's get into some real games. First up, we have El Paso Elsewhere, which is dropping on Xbox One, SX, and PC. And Xbox, I'm not talking to you. It's an action game from Strange Scaffold as developer publisher. El Paso Elsewhere is a supernatural neo-noir third-person shooter. Hunt werewolves, fallen angels, and other damned creatures in a vivid, slow-motion love letter to action classics. Fight your way through a reality-shifting motel, floor by bloody floor. Save the victims of Dracula, Lord of the Vampires. Destroy the villain you loved, even if it means dying yourself. So I definitely had to watch a trailer for that. I saw that description, like, oh, we have to watch this one.
Yeah. Down for that.
Definitely. Next one is a game that I ended up hearing a lot about last week, I think it was, because of Tokyo Game Show and Microsoft's presser and their digital presentation. This is a game that's dropping on Game Pass next month. So I ended up hearing a lot about this game and how interesting and cool it was, but it's dropping on the Switch and PC this month and on PlayStation and Xbox next box. And it is, I said next box, Xbox. It's Mineko's Night Market. And it's an adventure game from Miowauza Games as the developer and Humble Games as the publisher. So Mineko's Night Market is a game that celebrates Japanese culture while introducing a heartwarming story about friendship, tradition, and many, many cats. Play as Mineko, a curious girl who has just arrived at her new home on a struggling Japanese-inspired island at the base of Mount Fugu, excuse me. I want to say Fiji for a second. The superstitious locals on the island worship the sun cat, Nico. What was always thought to be a long-told myth has the town puzzled, as sightings of Nico had begun to surface among the residents of the island in recent days. Discover the secrets behind the town and restore the struggling village to its former glory. All the while, manage your daily activities, complete various jobs, venture on whimsical quests, and craft peculiar items in preparation for the weekly night market.
Okay.
So we're not watching it this week, but I'm pretty sure in October drops. Oh no, we are watching the trailer for that one this week. I was incorrect on that one. So we are watching the trailer for that one later on. It just sounded really quaint and curious. And like I said, I heard good things about the game coming out of Tokyo Game Show, because that's the game that's also dropping on Game Pass when it drops too. So, Microsoft tends to put out, a lots of information about the games they're putting on Game Pass.
Right. And this one definitely sounds interesting.
Yes.
Sounds like it's gonna fit right along in this spooky season.
Yes, very true.
Meowza is I just like that name, especially they focusing on cats.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect. That's really perfect. Next up, we have My Time at Sandrock, which is on PS4, 5, Xbox Series SX, and Switch. Actually, it's just PS5, not PS4. I misspoke. So it's a simulation from Pathera Games as a developer and publisher by Focus Entertainment. Travel to the desert community of Sandrock and take on the role of a fledgling builder. Use your trusty tool set to gather resources, construct machines, and turn your rundown workshop into a well-oiled production facility to save the town from the jaws of economic ruin. And this is a game that actually dropped on PC almost a year and a half ago now, so it's just making its way over to the consoles. And I'm, again, much like we talked about before, I'm curious when games drop on Switch and only drop on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, but not like a 4 or again, I'm not a developer, but it always seems as though if it's on the Switch, you can just put on those other systems with relative ease.
Yeah, I mean, especially given that the Switch, like, performance-wise, from a hardware and software standpoint, like, pales in comparison to even the PlayStation 4 and Xboxes of the same generation. So, I don't know. Only thing I can think of is the game don't require that much, and they just was like, we'll go straight for the current gens. And
maybe it's a money thing. Maybe it's just it costs that much more to develop for those older systems, and they didn't. I mean, it always comes down to money, and I understand. It's just I always find it peculiar. So,
I agree. Something about that is it don't make sense all the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, at least not to us.
Yeah,
the developers might completely understand.
Right.
So,
only because you still have more PS4s and Xbox Ones out there than the current gen systems. I think also because this console transition is just really stretching out. Partially because of in my opinion, the things from the pandemic, but we're 3 years in, and it is still a regular occurrence that pretty much, I would say, 80% of the games that we cover that come out every week, if not more, are still coming out on PS4 and Xbox One, in addition to current gen platforms.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm not really mad about that, though.
No, I'm grateful. I've said before, as someone who has not upgraded to a current gen system, there is between Game Pass and the fact that most games, well, one, I don't buy a lot of games anyway. But when I do, and I have, they've also come out on the last gen systems. And then with Game Pass and Cloud+Play, there is not a lot of incentive, especially my gameplay habits, I'll put it that way. There is not a lot of incentive to have to upgrade to a newer system as of yet because of all of those factors. So
that makes sense.
Interesting.
And from just a general consumer like standpoint, because of the pandemic and everything, like, I don't know, I don't feel like I had enough time with this console generation yet.
Right. It seems even though it's been 3 years, it doesn't seem like it's been that long.
Right.
At all.
I see things going around. Sony is already applying for trademarks for 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I'm like,
I ain't do that already. I figured they did it just for GP.
Yeah, they should have, right? but this is who we are. But yeah, this console generation, it don't feel like it's. I don't know. I feel like we're just now getting started. Many of the games are still not up to par as far as what the systems can produce.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's
yeah,
part of it too. We've seen a lot of games come out and they just don't give you a next gen feeling in many
right.
respects. Regardless, even again, I haven't played Final Fantasy 16, so I haven't played.
It's fire.
No, let me ask you this. We'll get to at the next game we're talking about Paleo Pines in a second. But
Okay.
does that give you a next gen feeling when you play it?
I guess slightly, and I say that because I don't know. I played my PlayStation so much, my PlayStation 4, so where I could hear, the fan, like it sounds like a jet engine whenever whenever it's super warm. Playing on a PlayStation 5, I know this game, it like takes a lot of power and stuff. The console is like can barely hear it. It's very, very quiet. There's not a lot of drop off with frame rates. Like everything looks pretty smooth, colored pretty well. I got a HD, what do they call it? HDR, whatever the 10, whatever that thing is, like 4K TV and all that stuff. And it looks great. The game is really responsive and fluid. So yes, but then at the same time, I don't necessarily understand what the difference is between, like the different generations of console. Like obviously the PlayStations perform better and they're more powerful or whatever. But as far as like the actual technical specs, I don't really dive too deep into that to like understand what was upgraded from PlayStation 4 to 5. So I feel like this game might do fine on a PlayStation 4. It'll probably be a little less, responsive. I'm saying that because Final Fantasy VII Remake is also that launched on PlayStation 4, and it's pretty. I don't know. I noticed things there, but overall, it runs fine. It feels. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm now that you asked me that, I don't really. I'm gonna pay more attention to that next time.
But you know what? That's kind of the point. I think a lot of us feel that way. The fact that you can't definitively answer that question, says a lot about maybe what kind of impression or what kind of takeaways a lot of gamers are having with the shift in generation. Because I'm sitting here thinking of, and I can't really comment on Halo Infinite because I played it on my Xbox One. But I'm thinking of, I remember playing Halo 3 on on my 360, and even the jump from Halo 3 to say Halo 4 and the Halo Reach, just on the 360 were noticeable. And then going from those to Halo 5 Guardians on the Xbox One, like I felt like I was playing a next gen Halo game from the way it played and the way it looked. That's what I was like. Since I don't have a next gen system, that's why I defer to you, especially as far as those exclusives are concerned. But it seems like that's a consensus that you're having across the board in many respects, and why it's like, hey, I'm not even like, okay, Starfield and playing that. I feel like I'm playing something different, but since I am not a Bethesda RPG sort of person, and I've literally never played an Bethesda RPG, can I say, hey, this feels next gen? Excuse me.
Bless you.
I don't know, because I don't have a comparison. It feels, but I will say this, playing this game via cloud play, I will say it does not feel like something that will run on my Xbox One. I will say that for sure. Do I feel like it's next gen? I don't know. Do I feel like it's something beyond my Xbox One? Yes, I do.
That makes sense.
And I will say that and I play a couple other things via cloud that are strictly Xbox series systems. And I will say honestly, that is probably the first game that I played where I looked at it and I said, this couldn't run on my Xbox One. Like seriously, like this, like I don't understand why this isn't natively on Xbox One. So I think we're getting there, and I think Starfield, Final Fantasy 16 are examples of us getting there. But I don't think, honestly, especially with the way this holiday season is shaping up. Well, I don't. Forza, that I'm not a big car guy, but that looks phenomenal. That looks absolutely phenomenal. So that may be one of those games that like, yeah, this is next gen. But I honestly don't think we're going to get that until next year. And we'll be 4 years into the cycle. And it's literally about midway through before we start to get games where us as consumers feel like, okay, yeah, I see why I need to buy a new system now.
Yeah. And what I will add to that before we move on, it's weird right now with, well, at least from my experience, a lot of the games that are like supposed to be exclusive to PlayStation 5 or this generation of consoles in general, like I'm noticing, like as soon as you load up the game, they're asking you, do you want the console to focus more on the performance side of the game, or do you want it to focus more on the graphical side? And I think because I got a good TV. The consoles, I know that they're built pretty well as far as graphics are concerned. So I always pick performance. I don't really care to, you know what I'm saying, have my thing like jumping out at me. So that could be something to take into consideration. But then it also speaks to maybe we just not there yet, like 100% as far as consoles are concerned, because they should be able to just do both. I don't know why we have to pick. Like,
that's interesting. If you pick, especially something like PlayStation 5 and the way they tout how it functions, it's interesting why you have to kind of choose between one or the other.
Right. Which is something I'm interested in seeing when Spider-Man 2 comes out, because they making a whole faster loading time. They really pushing that is right. They're really pushing that it's supposed to take advantage of the functionality of the PlayStation 5. So I'm interested to see when I load up, are they gonna make me choose between a performance-based gameplay or graphical? Because that has been pretty much every PlayStation 5 game, even demos. They're like, what do you want to focus on more? Is it
interesting
the way you look, or is it the way the game is gonna play? So like I said, I always pick the performance side because, the graphics look fine to me regardless. But I do notice that is not something that I can't just load up a game and it just automatically is going to work and look fine. It's always a choice there in the beginning. So, I don't know. Maybe we just not there yet.
Maybe. I will say this, while we were talking, I did think of one game that I thought that couldn't run. That was definitely next gen. Even though I think they could dumb it down and run on last gen consoles. Street Fighter 6.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's a serious jump from Street Fighter 5.
I agree.
And what that was from a gameplay perspective, a graphical perspective. Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's like one game that pops out that I think is definitely says this is next gen.
I agree, because I've only still played the demo to this day. But I have a PlayStation. I have 5 because it was a free game, so I could play it on both the 4 and the 5. Complete different feel. Everything from fighting to the way it looks to the way it runs. Like that's definitely a next gen game. I could say that.
Got you. Next up, we have Paleo Pines, which is on the PS4, 5, Xbox One, SX, Switch, and PC. It's a simulation from Italic Pig as a developer, and that is an interesting name for a developer, and Modus Games as a publisher. Welcome to Paleo Pines, a charming island known for its friendly dinosaurs, quirky townsfolk, and mysterious past.
Paleo.
Befriend dinos and enlist their help to fix your ranch and farm crops to create your cozy dinosaur sanctuary. Then set out with your companion, luckily to uncover Wait a minute. Lucky is really the name of your campaign? Oh, I guess the
Your
dinosaur
companion.
is Lucky. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Duh, like the dog. To uncover the island secrets. So that's Paleo Pines, and we are not watching the trailer for that one.
Okay.
Next up, again, much like we talked about, this is coming out for everything.
Mhm.
This is Infinity Strash Dino Quest, the Adventure of Die, or the PS4, 5, Xbox One SX, Switch, and PC. This action game from Square Enix, the legendary Dragon Quest, the Adventure of Die manga, an anime. And did you know there was a anime called Dragon Quest: The Adventures of Die?
I did not.
Okay, me either. You
Got a
learn something
manga
new every
too.
day.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it arrives as an exhilarating action RPG. Relive the events of the anime in Infinity Strash as you take charge of Dai and the disciples of Avran in the battle against the Dark Army. Okay, interesting. We are watching the trailer for this one.
Okay, cool. I'm always, I don't know. Dragon Quest has been calling my name for a long time. I just won't answer the phone. So maybe I need to, maybe this might be the one. So I'm excited for that trailer.
Now, let me tell you, with Dragon Quest, I've only played like the demo for Dragon Quest 12.
Okay.
But let me tell you, if you watch that, and I think it's on Netflix, it was a Netflix original film, the Dragon Quest movie they had on there.
Okay.
It was like Dragon Quest, Your Own Source, something like that. That was really good.
Okay.
Like that, I would highly recommend. If you haven't seen that, it was a really, really good movie. It's maybe about 2 years on that. I think it came on during the dark times, if I remember correctly. So it's been a while. But I definitely recommend it. As someone who's never played Dragon Quest before, I wouldn't say that. I played Dragon Warrior on the NES because that's what it was here in America. It was Dragon Warrior, and I didn't even play it on NES. I played it as on an emulator on my pocket PC back in grad school. So I didn't even I downloaded the NES file and played it on that. And then they had the anime series as well that was shown during the 90s, also early 90s. But that was my only real experience with Dragon Quest until 12 dropped a little while ago and came out for everything. But that movie is, if you never played Dragon Quest before, that's a really good introduction to the series, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm gonna definitely check that out because I keep hearing things. The damn series just keep coming out with new games.
Right.
So something's there. So I'm gonna definitely check that out.
Yeah. So next up we have, when I saw the title to this game, I said, please tell me nobody made a video game version of the 1985 movie starring Steve Guttenberg, Jesper Tandy, and Hume Cronin. Like, who in their bright mind? And then I saw, I'm like, oh, good, nobody did. And we're talking about Cocoon. Look, all y'all, probably Gen Z, have no idea what I'm talking about. Heck, a lot of younger millennials have no idea what I'm talking about either. But it's a movie directed by Ron Howard. I think Jessica Tandy won the Oscar for Driving Miss Daisy. I think Hume Cronin won the Oscar for Cocoon. Also, a whole bunch of people in it. Anyway, we're not talking about a movie adaptation or a video game adaptation of Cocoon. We're talking about Cocoon dropping for the Xbox One SX, PC, and Switch, an adventure game from Geometric Interactive and Annapurna Interactive. Now, if it's Annapurna Interactive, we're getting some quality indie games here. So this is from Jeppe Carlson, the lead gameplay designer of Limbo and Inside. So if you've played or even seen either one of those games, right now it's going to be very stylized and it's going to be very story driven as far as the adventure game is concerned. Okay. So Cocoon takes you on an adventure across worlds within worlds, master world leaping mechanics to unravel a cosmic mystery. Cocoon is a unique take on a puzzle adventure genre where each world exists within an orb that you can carry on your back. Wrap your head around the core mechanic of leaping between worlds and combine, manipulate, and rearrange them to solve intricate puzzles.
Okay.
So, and we are not watching the trailer for that one. I should have put that on there, but we will be here all night if we watch trailers for everything.
Right.
And last up this week is the game formerly known as FIFA. EA Sports FC 24, which is out for everything, including the Switch, which I was surprised because we know how EA has been with publishing complete new games when it comes to sports titles on the Switch.
Right.
So it's
I don't know. All of these games going over the Switch, I don't know. They I feel like Nintendo is stockpiling some cash over there. That Switch
they
2
are.
must be around the corner. Gotta be.
Yeah, it needs to be. Look, I told you with the competition that's out there right now on, because I don't know why I've gone down the rabbit hole of these handheld PCs.
Right.
Man, what is it? The Ioneo Zero. That joint is $250.
Okay.
Base model.
And you know what's crazy? You say that, and oddly enough, well, not oddly enough, because they're trying to get their foot in the door. Apple has they're making a really big push for gamers with this new iPhone.
Yes, I've seen that.
They put ray tracing on there and everything. Like they really want us to like shift our focus to, treating our phones more like a handheld gaming device. Especially with Apple Arcade accepting some of these bigger games now. I don't know.
Yeah, but my problem is that's $1,000 phone, $1,000 plus phone, because you have to get the Max Pro, right?
It is.
Yeah.
But the caveat with it is you don't have to pay for all at once. It's like at least because I'm have Verizon, right? So when I go in to get my phone, I can either trade my phone in, which it's like I'm like 6 months away from paying it off, so I'm not gonna do that. I'll just wait and come back. But when I go in and get my phone, they're gonna offer me the phone as if I'm a new customer. Say, oh, if you just give us $250 or something like that, then we'll just split the rest of the payments up over the course of your contract for the phone plan. So yes, it is an expensive phone. It's $1,000 phone, and then the primary function of it is not to game, but they are doing things, the new chip in there, whatever, supposed to be really tuned up for gaming or whatever. So I don't know. I'll just say all that to say Nintendo, the competition is getting thick.
They're making a push. I just think that part of it is so niche. Like that's more handheld. I say that in my opinion, because first of all, you have to get the highest of the highest iPhone to be able to play Resident Evil 4 remake, and like that's still a subset of a subset of a subset. That isn't mass market penetration, and even then, those sort of people, they're more likely one of the ones that get a new iPhone every 2 years,
right? Which that again, to Apple's credit, because they do this thing where it's like the high end, the top tier phone for this generation, that's going to be the base model phone next year.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. So over time, you'll have a lot of those features trickle down to lower models. Okay.
Exactly.
I get what you're saying. I understand it. And maybe I'm somewhat biased because while I don't mind on my phone, playing on my phone, and I have definitely played Game Pass via the cloud on my phone on many occasions, especially on business trips or whatnot. When the airport, just bring my controller, slap the stand on there, and, right. and I'm right there waiting for a plane. I've done that plenty of times, but that was more of a hey, pass the time sort of thing, and not a dedicated game machine. And that's why I'm thinking with something like that, it's niche. It is not a mass market thing like a Switch, and that's where I come back to a lot of these handheld PCs. And trust me, y'all, we're gonna get to EA Soccer FC 24 and all the trailers in a minute.
Y'all know what it is. It's soccer.
Yeah, it's soccer. But I think that this is it's an interesting time to be a gamer in many
Yeah.
respects. And I am really surprised how these handheld PCs have exploded. I blame the Steam Deck, and I blame it in a very good way, have
Yeah.
exploded in variety and availability over the past few months, and it's only getting better. And again, I am blown away about the Ioneo. Was it Ioneo Zero? The fact that it's so cheap. Now you are not running Spider-Man on Ioneo Zero. You're not doing those sort of things. But to have a handheld where you essentially you have your Steam library, you have Game Pass, where you have access to hundreds of games for $250, and I think it's like a 6-inch screen, and like it's in great battery life for $250. You bump it up and get 4 more gigs of memory is like $275.
Okay.
That is a compelling piece of hardware. And I'm looking at that as, again, the Switch 2, and I'm called it, actually, I don't know, Nintendo should call it the Super Nintendo Switch. I'm like, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be fire.
That would be so awesome. Having it come out in the scheme of a Super Nintendo, that would be so sweet. But something like that is a really good reference for a mass market sort of handheld that could essentially maybe not compete with the Switch, because obviously nobody has Nintendo first party exclusives,
right?
But offers most customers and like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of games to choose from, with multiple platforms, whether it's Epic Game Store or Steam or Game Pass. It's just, that's a hard bargain. I mean, even myself, I'm thinking, I don't have an Xbox Series yet, but like that $275, like I don't need one.
Right.
But that's a good price. Like that's an amazing price for what that sort of hardware can do, and you only go up from there. So going back to what used to be called FIFA, it is interesting that EA is now, I'm assuming this is a full release, not one of those bare bones quote unquote roster updates that they've done in the past with FIFA, and I'm gonna keep calling it FIFA. I'm hoping it's a full game on the Switch. They finally come to their senses at the end of the console's life cycle, which doesn't make any sense. But there's enough people out there that will play it. I'm really wondering though how much the name change will hurt the sales, because saying you're playing FIFA is like saying you're playing 2K.
Right.
Like, it's such a brand name. And while nothing changes with this game except for the name, since they didn't want to pay FIFA that, I think FIFA wanted ridiculous money just for naming rights. EA was smart and say, nah, we don't need y'all, honestly.
Right.
But this is what I'm curious about. And I don't know if Konami still does the Pro Evolution Soccer series. Then Konami go and strike a deal with FIFA and use the license, and now they're FIFA Winning 11 Soccer. That would really screw things up.
It would. And I don't know. Have you seen that documentary about FIFA?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if they have known about all the corruption and stuff that's happening in the FIFA organization. I wouldn't be surprised if they let something like that fly and just be like, you know what? Since EA want to play dirty, we'll go over here and do this X, Y, Z.
But I don't think Konami give them that money though. Konami, they ain't exactly been opening their wallets lately when it comes to the games. So.
You're right. But they might, if the agreement is good enough. We're talking about FIFA now. Like,
yeah, true.
It might not have very much legs over here in the United States, but that definitely is a world game.
Yes.
So maybe, I don't know. But what does FC stand for? What the hell is that?
Federation of International Football Association or something like that.
No, but so what is FC? Is it
football club?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So it's taken more from over in Europe. They're called football clubs.
Well, that makes sense.
And also with Konami and Winning 11, or Pro Evolution Soccer as it's called now.
Right.
The last entry was in 2022 because I was looking this up because I had that idea. I'm like, wait a minute, when's the last time the Konami put out Pro Evolution Soccer? Like 20s, like it'd be it would be the perfect time for them just to do like a bare bones roster update of a game, slap the FIFA name on there, and ship it out just to spite, just like, hey, we can make a little bit of coin off of this just because of the name.
Because of the name.
Like no work, repackage what we did like 2 years ago, ship it out real quick.
And then on top of that, just because people are gonna know, oh, this is not EA, this is somebody else, they're gonna want to play. So I don't know, get your money.
They're going about it. Look, I'm gonna tell you, I feel the same way with Madden. There is something that is so ubiquitous within gaming culture.
Mm-hmm.
Madden is synonymous with an NFL game.
Right.
And while EA wasn't stupid to ever lose that license, they bought that out in perpetuity.
Mm-hmm.
But if they ever did and somebody picked up that Madden license, that would sell just on name alone.
Right.
You only get 1 year to do that because if it's some crap, they're gonna know it's some crap and won't come back again.
Right.
But whatever company will literally have 1 year to make money off of their license if they have a crappy game. And that's something, even that FIFA is so synonymous with a soccer video game that if Konami or somebody else paid the money for that license to put out a game, I think it will be guaranteed to make some money this year. Maybe not next year. Definitely this year.
Well, I mean, I'm with it. Try, Konami. Just try.
Yep. Let's do it. Well, let's get into some trailers. First up, we have El Paso Elsewhere.
Okay.
Reality is getting bent around.
Not in Texas, but elsewhere.
Distorted beyond repair. All to keep me from reaching the bottom. It's only going to get worse from here. Why do I feel so fucking good? I don't know why the void hasn't killed me outright. Maybe it doesn't want to. Maybe it can't. Either way, I'm going to make that a problem.
I'm feeling it. I get a little, you get that noir aspect. I'm getting kind of a Max Payne vibe, but you know what it reminds me of for some reason? And the game doesn't look as horrible as the game I'm going to reference, but for some reason when it started, it reminded me. You remember that game that came out like the 360 PS2 era called Drake and the 99 Dragons?
Yes.
Okay. And they tried to make it, they was like, oh, it's going to be a cartoon series and a movie, and it was like absolutely trash. For some reason, that's what it reminded me of when he's going out in the trench coat and double barreling with the handguns. Like it reminded me of that, but it obviously looked a lot better, looked a lot more story driven. I'm absolutely, and I think this is also going back to an early conversation we had, that with games becoming more and more stylized, I think that's also why it's hard to see the need for new generations or see the importance of a new generation of console. Because while that game looks good, its style doesn't say, hey, this needs to be run on an Xbox Series or PlayStation 5.
Right.
This really looks like this is cool. This is like it could be run on a Xbox One, a PS4. Hell, this could be a 360.
I'm about to say.
And not that it's a bad thing, because it's about style and gameplay and my graphics. And we are getting more and more games that are focusing on their own unique art styles instead of being able to be the most graphically fidelity fidelable. Is that the word? Or increased
size,
graphic fidelity. I think that's it. Running 60 frames a second and blasting out in 4K over 4K TV with an insane refresh rate. That's not the goal of most games. And I think that when you see games like El Paso elsewhere, that it's using its own art style to tell its story. And that transcends game generations. And I think we're seeing a lot more of that now. And I think, again, going back to original conversation, I think that's why we, in many ways, feel like, do we really need another generation? I'm not feeling like this in generation, because so many games are just doing their own thing. And it is not, you don't have that across the board, like, oh, this is a Nintendo game. Oh, this is a Super Nintendo game. This is a Super Nintendo game. Oh, this is the Nintendo 64 game. Like there's a distinct jump and change with things. Right. I don't think you see it across the board with what's going on now. And again, that is not a bad thing. This is not the 80s to the 90s and to the PS1s and Xboxes. Like, we are not doing that time as far as game is concerned. But a game like this definitely represents its style over substance. Yeah. In many respects, as far as graphics is concerned.
Yeah. And I can appreciate that, because it'll actually distract me from the fact that this game is coming out on a current gen console and it's not, graphically up to par with that. I don't necessarily mind that. It just needs to be something that's made evident prior to me purchasing. Like, I don't want to get the game, like, in much respect to Mortal Kombat 1, I understand why people feel how they feel about the Switch version, even though I understand the Switch don't have the power to pull out what it can do on the PlayStation 5.
Look, you can ship that game out for $49.99. You don't ship that game out on a Switch for $70. Right. That's the problem with that.
Yeah, I agree. But I feel like had they said, like, hey, had they just made it evident, like, the Switch version is going to be its own thing, same gameplay, whatever, but it's stylized for the Switch. Like, something to just let the consumer know, like, hey, you're not about to get PS5, Xbox Series SX, PC quality. This has been built and stylized to play the same game but look a certain way on the Switch for whatever reason. And then maybe people would be more forgiving. But I like this trend of having these games that are not necessarily chasing high performance and high, like, graphic rate, and they just making games that actually feel good to play. Like, exactly. It don't have to be the game don't have to ask me to come be inside and I feel like, oh my God, I'm so immersed. It could just be something that's really light and cool and creative and different, which that's what this is. I like that.
I agree. Next up, we have Infinity Strash, Dragon Quest, the Adventure of Dai.
Long ago, when the gods first created this world, the gods of dragons, darklings, and humans convened and came to an agreement to create a being with the strength of dragons, the magic power of darklings, and the heart of humans. An ultimate warrior. The Dragon Knight.
And then it's just like this.
I'll just have to sacrifice myself and do whatever I can.
control each member of your team.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I'm like, do you switch between team members? Is it AI multiplayer? Okay. I don't know about you.
Go ahead. No, what were you about to say?
I was saying, I was going to ask you, did you get like a Dragon Ball feel from the way this was presented?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I think that's been my apprehension with the Dragon Quest series as a whole, is because it's stylized like it's a Dragon Ball game, or just the art style is very Dragon
because Akira Toriyama, I know he did the character designs for 12, but I don't think he did it for this one, but it definitely seems inspired by that sort of thing. And also for me, it was more so the presentation. Like I felt like this could have been like a video game representation of like the Cell Saga, and they're fighting Cell ultimate form,
right?
With some of these boss battles they showed. Like that's what I got in my head. And maybe it's the music, maybe it's something. Not so much the character design, because I'm sitting there thinking, no, they don't look like Akira Toriyama, like 12 did. But I just like the whole feeling of it, like I'm feeling Dragon Ball-ish. I
definitely seen Gohan on that screen just now, and Piccolo and Shenron, but in multiple dragon heads. Like it just looked like a Dragon Ball game, which I know I probably have to put that aside in order to be able to play this game.
Yeah.
But speaking to that system, I don't know. It looked like it might be similar to how, well, the most recent game I've played, where you can switch before we can switch between your other characters. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or Remake.
Okay.
They have that same where it's like, yes, you have your main character and everything like that, but the characters you bring with you in your party, you can't switch and control those. And then when you do that, the character you actually, Cloud, or I think it's Cloud, the character that's the main character of the game, he actually becomes NPC or whatever, and automated by the system or whatever. So it might be something like that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's our take on a Dragon Quest game. Next up, we have
Dragon Ball
Mineko's right, Dragon Ball, Dragon Quest. Next, we have Mineko's Night Market. Okay.
Many years ago, at the top of Mount Fugu, the cat god, Mineko, appeared from a sakura flower floating in a nearby river. Mineko would visit the farms in our village, granting each one good fortune and prosperity in turn. But some in the village became impatient for their own blessings, and in a fit of jealousy, they drove Mineko away, banishing him from the land.
Haters.
Many years passed, and our village worked hard to create our own success. The story of Mineko drifted from memory. Yet there are some who still believe in the power of magic and myth. And others drawn to our village whose intentions may not be so pure. Does Mineko truly exist? Could this legend possibly be real? All we can do is hope, for our village, our people, and our beloved Night Knight might depend on it.
Okay.
I see why they were hyping this game up. It looks very interesting and very unique.
Yeah, I definitely see this like being a game, because it reminds me at least of Animal Crossing a little bit.
Yeah, I got a little bit of that as well. Yes.
Yeah, but then it has like an anime vibe to it, And then there's all of these other things you can do in the game that you can't do in Animal Crossing, like cook and so I don't know. This one
very
looks
Japanese.
Cool. Yes. I'm not mad though.
No, not at all. That's cool. I'll try to drop into it when it drops on Game Pass next month. With all the other games that are dropping on Game Pass, there's not enough time in the day. But last but not least, and this again goes to that argument about next gen. This is a game that came out on the PS4 and PS4 and Xbox One, and it didn't do so hot. It didn't run so well, and they've gone back to it, retooled it, and I think this is the second expansion, and this second expansion is only current gen only, and it is Cyberpunk 2077 Liberty City.
Okay.
Clock's ticking.
We get them reviews from.
Relic will finish me sooner rather than later.
Think this is it, kiddo.
Fish, what's going on?
I made so many mistakes.
Johnny!
Did terrible things.
You claim to be an agent now. So act like it. You play grown-up games, you face grown-up consequences.
Is that Idris?
You doing my shoes, Johnny?
You're up against seasoned players. So go out and play. Just don't get played.
Okay, so I wasn't ever that hype on Cyberpunk when it came out, and I think even more so I got turned off because of all the issues when it launched.
Yeah, that was it for me.
Yeah, I don't know how much the DLC costs.
Shouldn't be more than
the fact
40.
that this game has gotten better because of DLC.
It was unfinished.
Yeah, I don't want to hate in that regard, but as one of the things I think that's the problem with the gaming industry right now. And it's like it just turns me off as a consumer. I'm not saying it's not a great game because I've heard nothing but good things about it, how it's gotten better, but a game should not get better.
Right.
If I'm buying you, I shouldn't have never had to deal with the issues and then wait for you to fix them.
Right.
And what this came out, when did Cyberpunk come out? 2021?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's been like 2 years, 3 years, maybe. That the original base game came out. And it took them, it had to be like 2020, I think. Because it took them a while to come out with a fully next-gen version of it. And I don't know, it's just what it just leaves such a bad taste in my mouth for what gaming is like nowadays. And that's why I want to like this game and what it represents, but I see it's beautiful, it's cyberpunky, it's Idris is Keanu, looks amazing. CD Projekt Red has nothing but a good track record with these sort of things, but it always leaves a bad taste in my mouth because I just remember how we got here.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm not necessarily, because I was hyped for the game. I really like the story behind it. Being able to choose if you want to be, what was the different? It's like 3 different like factions or whatever you could choose. If you want to be on the outskirts or be a boss or something like that. And that was really intriguing to me. The level of customization that we were, or that way they were like, expressing about it. And I was like, okay, this looks cool. But then so many bugs and issues and
Right.
record returns to the PlayStation Store. I was just like,
Right.
I shouldn't buy this game. I
Yeah,
would be
exactly.
put the money in.
I know companies got bottom lines and everything, but no games should come out in that kind of state. And I know we're a couple years past, I know they've gotten better, but we shouldn't be talking about, oh, it got better. It got better. They fixed it. I'm like, nah. There should never be a conversation about they fixed the game. It shouldn't have come out broken in the first place.
Right. The only thing that's saving me, that, or at least keeping this game in consideration, because I'm not completely opposed to, not buying it. They have improved the game. These DLC do look interesting, so I'm not opposed. But the only reason that is because of the anime that's on Netflix. That's really good.
Yes, I need to watch that too. Yeah.
So we'll see if a new season of Cyberpunk, what's it called? Runner or something, whatever it's called. The new Cyberpunk anime, they put another season out, and I'm like, okay, I want to play this. Then I might pick the game up. But that's the dependent right there. That's the contingent right there. Other than that, y'all try, and I appreciate it, but I don't know. That I just can't get over it. For whatever reason, I can't let it go. So,
all right, Brian, what do you have dropping this week?
I'm about to release a new episode of the Talk+Play blerdcast, which is my podcast where I discuss everything from the headlines of your favorite social media blogs, game chats. There's some things there. Mostly I covered the Nintendo Direct and the PlayStation State of Play. Nothing too fancy. There's a lot of cool music that dropped since the last episode, so a lot of that. Doja Cat's album is actually really good. And I say actually, but I knew it was going to be good, but there's conversations happening with her right now. Either way, a lot of stuff to talk about music outside of that. And then, I decided to cover the new, I guess, what would they call this? I don't know. The writer's strike is going in a good, positive direction.
Yes.
So I decided to kind of get into that a little bit.
Okay.
As well as discuss something I've watched on Netflix, a comedy special, I believe. Yeah, Country Wayne's comedy special. Okay. Either way, just another regular episode, and that's pretty much it. What about yourself?
I dropped episode 164 of Toy and Geek podcast this week, so that came out at the time of this recording Monday prior to that. So I talked more about Lies of P on the download, my interview with Avery Jane. And let me tell you, man, I've interviewed a lot of people from the industry thus far. She has been my favorite. She is just was so fun to talk to. Like we talked for like another hour that wasn't recorded, just talking. So she was just so fun. And I think that it's a really good interview to listen to, because there's a lot of conversations about perceptions, about how she's treated, and even just opportunities for women of color in the industry, and also like really understanding her own mental health and what her breaking points are. So I thought it was a really engaging and honest and human interview. So I really enjoyed that one. I think that the listeners out there would enjoy that as well. And then the fragrance of the week is Vedi Verso from Laboratorio Olfactivo, and that is a green citrusy fragrance, vetiver, bitter orange. It was a lot better than I expected of a fragrance. Like, oh, this is nice. I like this. It's not one I usually reach for, but it's definitely one I'm gonna pull out that sample again. But it's maybe not soon, because that's more of, in my opinion, like a spring sort of fragrance. I was about to ask. Not fall, because
season.
Let me tell you, summer's going quick and it's fall real fast.
Yeah, right.
Maybe not down where you are, but definitely up here. It's like, oh, it's like 60 degrees today. Wasn't it just 80 last week?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Right. Also, I dropped an interview with Navy Montel. as well, cosplayer, Twitch streamer that's on YouTube also. And by the time this comes up, I may have another video up out on the week. I don't know. We shall see.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So, you know where you guys are. Nerds rule the world. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at the NRW, on Instagram News Wednesday. And of course, you're currently on YouTube. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe.